Gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up right now. Gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up right now. Gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up right now. Gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up, gotta lighten up, shine like the sun.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Man Podcast, the only podcast that's all about self-improvement, confidence, success, women, and being a man without making any apologies for it.
What is up, gentlemen? Happy Thursday. I hope the week has been treating you well. And this episode is going to springboard off the previous episode of bringing girls good energy, making them feel better from having met you. And today we are going to talk about how you need to lighten the fuck up, bro. You're taking this shit way too seriously. Way too seriously. You guys are just like so intense, bro. So into it, man. Just lighten up a little bit. And this, I think, is a major issue with most guys when it comes to women, but also just their own happiness. They're just too fucking serious. They take everything so damn seriously. They get butthurt at the drop of the hat. They get triggered when somebody says something that hurts their butthurt feelings. It's like, come on, bro, don't take this shit so seriously. So I'm going to talk about some philosophies. Oh, there we go. Fucking alarm goes off. God damn it, my alarm. I forgot to set it, guys. I'm so sorry. Forgot to turn it off. I'm a loser. I'm useless. Please don't stop listening to my podcast. You just gotta lighten up, dude. Just fucking turn it off and keep going. That's what I'm talking about. Before I jump into the content, boys, want to read yet another fantastic, amazing, spectacular review from my boy, Ramon. What is up, Ramon, if you're listening? This one's a little long, so I'm going to read it pretty quick. Don't worry. We'll be through it in a second, then we'll jump into the content. All right, let's get into this. 5-star review for Coach Sing. Found myself a widower after 18 years of marriage. My darling wife passed away and losing her hard-fought battle with breast cancer. 8 months later, after working with a therapist, I wanted to begin a new chapter in my life. I met MarkSing through his podcast, and before I pay homage to the great Spartan general that he is, I must tell you all the truth. I was the quintessential nice guy and relied on getting the low-hanging fruit when it came to women. In my marriage, as a result of being coached by MarkSing, I realized that I was not the most effective partner because I brought my beta male and nice guy behavioral traits to my marriage. Coach Sing taught me that a woman wants her man to remain masculine in a relationship. It's the vital essence that keeps her attracted to her man. After entering the 12-week coaching course and learning gambits, push-pull techniques, and storytelling, I began to meet many women online and in the field. I dated a lot. I went on many dates and met many high-quality women during this time. However, that is not the most important thing I learned in Coach Sing's course. Coach Sing taught me probably the most valuable lesson, that being successful with women and maintaining a high-quality relationship began with erasing the BS programming in my head and building a strong masculine frame. My beta male tendencies come from my childhood and societal traumas. Guys, NLP works. I did Coach Sing's daily NLP protocols and my mind became clear, free, and transformed. Today, I'm an unapologetic silverback alpha male and my frame continues to get stronger every day. I'm a champion in the prize when it comes to meeting women. Moreover, after a lot of dating, I met a beautiful, intelligent, and charismatic woman who loves me for the masculine gentleman that I am. It continues on, but I think I'll stop it there. Ramon, thank you so much for that testimonial. Really good stuff. And boys, if you'd like to get on a free one-on-one call with me, go to my website. There's a link in the description below. Click on coaching, fill in the quick application, and you and I will get on a free 30-minute to 1 hour call together where we will talk about your issues, your goals, what kind of struggles you have, your traumas, belief systems, archetypes, and I'll tell you straight up if I can help you, and I'll tell you how long it would take, how much work it would take to get you to that level that you want to get to, whatever your goal may be. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the content. So lightening up, Jesus, wouldn't even believe this. You guys are freaking spazzes, bro. You guys are coming unpeeled. Some of you guys are like a small monkey on cocaine, just flying all over the place and just like can't get your shit together because you're taking this shit all too seriously. So to begin this, I want to do a little thought exercise with you. So a lot of you guys are such spazzes and you're not lighthearted is because you're really living in a state of fear. You're worried about what's going to happen in the future. And this, by the way, is a cause of much of your anxiety. It's that distant sense of threat. What's going to happen to me in the future? And probably for a lot of you guys, that's derived of a negative experience that happened in your past. like me, something happened to you where it came out of left field, decimated you, realized that this life isn't quite as safe as we once thought it was. My dad, for example, died when I was 10 years old. Literally, guys, he was alive one day, perfectly fine, perfectly healthy, dead the next. He had complications with diabetes, and it was back in 1987 where the technology wasn't quite as good when it came to diabetes, but he was irresponsible as well, wasn't managing his insulin, thought he had the flu, and then he just died. Like, I'm 10 years old, my life's great, and my fucking dad dies. So then I get this traumatic experience that makes me think that at any time, people just die. So for the next 10 years, I used to worry that my mom, if she would come home 10 minutes late from work, I thought she was dead. I was like, oh, she died on Laguna Canyon. She was coming home from her job and she's dead. She's definitely dead. And then after that, I had subsequent traumas that also convinced me that shit just goes wrong immediately. And a lot of you guys have had that. But let's do a little thought exercise where let's take the worst thing that ever happened to you. Okay, so for me, probably the worst thing that ever happened to me was my dad dying, but maybe even worse than that was my anxiety attacks and agoraphobia that I experienced when I lived in Japan. Not going to dive too deep into it, but it was definitely the worst year of my life where I was absolutely ridden with such anxiety, I can't even explain it to you. Couldn't go outside, couldn't talk to people. I mean, approaching girls, are you fucking kidding me? That was light years away from what I was able to do at that time. So I had these panic attacks. I had this agoraphobia. I almost committed suicide because it was so unbelievably horrible. But what came out of that is NLP. I became an NLP coach. What came out of that is massive self-confidence because I've seen the dark side, if you will, and I know now what that looks like so I can have a better experience of the light. That in fact, the only way we can truly understand and appreciate the good things is to have gone through those bad things. And that, I think, is the whole reason for quote unquote bad things in this world. It's the whole reason for fear in this world because fear is the opposite of love. And for us to experience that which we are, which in my belief is love, we have to go into those deep, dark depths of anxiety, fear, hatred, self-loathing, etc., in order to experience that. So the thought exercise is this, is you take the worst thing that ever happened to you and far enough back where the ramifications have already manifested, such as something that happened 10 years ago, you know that everything that kind of came out of that bad experience has already manifested and it's already been settled. You have the total picture. So what you do is you write down that bad thing and you write down all the bad things that came out of it. So with my anxiety and panic attacks, I was extremely anxious. It was hell on earth. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. It was like war, bro. I can't even explain it. But when you have deep anxiety, as some of you guys listening have, it is just the most terrifying thing. And it's weird because you're afraid of the fear, which creates more fear. And it's this spiral that just keeps going and going and going. Well, then you write down all the good things that came out of it. Well, had it not been for my anxiety attacks, my panic attacks, my agoraphobia, I never would have found NLP. I never would have gotten into meditation, spirituality. I wouldn't have gotten into being a coach, learning how to pick up girls, putting myself under pressure to grow myself as a man. So the point here is this, is no matter what bad thing happens to you, there's always good that comes out of it. So then you have to ask yourself, well, what's the point of this life? Why does that happen? Well, that comes down to a level of perspective. But since we don't ultimately know, it's your freedom and your creativity to choose what you're going to believe about what the point of life is. Okay, so it comes down to your belief that, do things happen to me? Is this a malevolent universe that's trying to break me down and the devil has his hand around my ankle and he's trying to drag me to hell and there's all these bad forces coming at me? Or is this a benevolent universe, which means a loving universe, and the point of calamity, the point of bad things happening to you is to A, wake you up and to set the precedence of the opposite of what you really are so you can experience what you really are, which in my opinion is benevolence. You are love, you are positivity. And the negativity is there to serve that purpose, is to wake you up to it. It creates a counterpoint because you can't know that you're something unless you're something that you're not. So do you believe this is a benevolent or malevolent universe? Some of you may believe one or the other, or maybe you believe both. But what you need to look at is the ultimate point of it. What's the ultimate point of it? I believe it's good. And because I've chosen to believe that, my life is good. My life is happy because I believe that what you believe is attracted to you, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But it's a simple decision. Is this happening for me or is this happening to me? To me is a victim mentality. Like, oh, woe's me. This car accident happened and my life fucking sucks. Just everything always goes wrong for me. And you know those types of people. And they're right. When they think that way, yes, everything does go wrong for them. But if you think life happens for you, car accident happens, you can reframe that in your mind and say, well, maybe I was supposed to be prevented from going to this place, or maybe I was supposed to create this traffic jam so somebody else who's a mile back in the traffic jam doesn't get killed over the interstate 10 miles from now. Like, you just got to reframe things to look at the bright side of life, because listen, it's ultimately a choice. All your belief systems are BS anyway, so choose the one that is most conducive to your development and most conducive to your growth as a man. Now we get into the law of attraction. And as I spoke about, a lot of you guys are way too spazzy about things going wrong, and you have this thirsty, needy desire to get what you want. First of all, you need to examine those desires. Why do you want those things? Do you want those things for your happiness, or do you want those things to prove something to somebody else because your ego doesn't feel like enough and you want to get money, you want to get girls, you want to get cars and riches and prove yourself to everybody who cut you down when you were a kid? Well, I'll tell you what, when you want something, you actually push it away from yourself. Now, I know that sounds like a strange concept, but hear me out. Basically, the universe is a gigantic printing machine, a big mail order catalog. What you put out to it is attracted back to you. So the very act of wanting something or being thirsty for something or needing something makes the universe print out that exact experience of you wanting something. So what does that mean? You're going to continue wanting it. You're going to continue thirsting for it. You're going to continue longing after women, money, success, because you want it. Instead, the trick is to simply be it. And this is why in my coaching, I remove bad belief systems like I'm no good, I'm unattractive, and I replace it with I am a girl magnet. And you guys should be telling yourself that every single day. I am a girl magnet. I am a champion. I am a money magnet. And when you say the words I am, it's a literal statement to the universe that is printed on that gigantic printer and given to you. So the very art of wanting, the very art of being thirsty, especially with women, I'm going to talk about women in a second, pushes it away from you. Instead, be it. So how do you be it? The key is to want and not need. And this is where we come into lightheartedness. This is where we come into lightening the fuck up. I want this to happen, but I don't need it. You know, I want to make this much money this month, but I don't need to make this much money this month. There's people with so much less than I have. And really, if I examine my egoic need, the reason I want to make this much money is because I want to prove it to other people. I want to like text my mom and say, Mom, I made this much money this month. Is that really a higher desire? Not really. So yeah, I want it. It's going to be playful. It's going to be fun, but I don't need it. And that's where the lighthearted element of the art of living comes into all your endeavors, that you want something to go well. And want isn't even the right word, right? Because we spoke about want. You expect it to go well. You anticipate it going well. You're going to create it going well, but you don't need it. You don't need it. And the reason I'm doing this episode is because I was at the clubs last night and there was this dude. Actually, there were several dudes who just looked so intense, bro. They're just sitting at that bar with the drink in their hands, staring out into the dance floor at all these girls like they're freaking lions on the Serengeti, and they're gonna go pounce on these chicks and it must go right. I must get this girl. This is so serious. This is life or death right here. And I'm just looking at this guy being lighthearted. I got all these hot girls around me and I'm like, bro, lighten the fuck up, man. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Don't take this so seriously. You want her, but you don't need her. And if she rejects you, who the fuck cares what she thinks? Your opinion of yourself must be the thing that matters the most. And that too is what we call outcome independence. Outcome independence in my coaching means I want you, but I don't need you. I don't give a shit what happens here. I'm going to have fun and I'm going to entertain myself. And the reason I don't care what happens here, boys, is because there are millions of women in your city. If this one goes bad, I'll just get the next one. If that one goes bad, I'll just get the next one. There's another bus coming. It's as guaranteed as the sun rising tomorrow morning. It's as guaranteed as there being enough water to drink, enough air to breathe, enough food probably being put on your table if you are in the affluent nations that most of you are listening to this from. So we understand that we want but don't need. And you guys, you need to be easier to laugh. You need to be easier to smile. You need to be easier to have a good time and be like that laughing Buddha, because ultimately nothing here matters all that much. Now, this comes down to a spiritual belief, but if you're willing to take stock into what I believe, I've been doing research on spirituality, the point of life, and I definitely have my opinion about it. And yes, I will do a podcast about it. But ultimately, when it all comes down to the deeper purpose of this, these transient things don't matter that much. Think about your life 10 years ago and all the things you were worried about. Like, really think about it. Take 10 years away from your current age and then put yourself back into your mentality when you were that age. Do any of the things that you were tripping on, any of the things you were freaking out about, do they matter to you today at all? No, of course they don't. And that's a very subtle and beautiful sign that the universe gives you that, bro, you're taking these little things way too seriously. You need to be like that laughing Buddha. You need to find joy in everyday things and just laugh at shit and be carefree. Because I'll tell you, this podcast is a perfect example of how that works. I entertain myself. I think the shit that I say is funny. I have a good time on this podcast. I'm really enjoying this right now. And you know what? I let go of outcome. As the Tao Te Ching says, do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. So I do my work, I do my best, but at the same time, it's like, I don't take it so seriously, man. It's like my alarm just went off. I'm like, whatever, turn it off. I fuck around. I do little intros that make me laugh. Like that CoachMarkSing for Sheriff thing I did on Monday. It just came to me and I just went with it. I'm just having fun. It's the same way you got to be with chicks. Is just have a good time. Don't take the shit so seriously. You don't have to get into her underwear. In fact, you don't even care if you get into her underwear. You don't care if you get her phone number. You don't give a shit if she likes you because you like yourself. And you understand that there's abundance. This world is abundant. You are given so much opportunity. And a lot of you guys take it so seriously because you have this scarcity mindset. You think, if I don't get this one girl, it's all over for me. No, man, there's plenty of women. There's plenty of laughter. There's plenty of water to drink. There's plenty of sunshine. There's plenty of love. There's enough laughter. There's enough fun. There's enough entertainment. There's enough goodness in this world. So stop being so thirsty for it. You want it, you don't need it, and be like the laughing Buddha, whose laugh symbolizes everything is going to be okay and nothing here matters all that much. So every day, boys, I want you to do something childish. I want you to laugh out loud. I want you to entertain yourself because, guys, you could be hit by a bus. While I think that the general purpose of life is benevolent, which means loving, this life you're having right now, this experience that you've chosen and incarnated into could end tomorrow. So enjoy today, man. See pleasure in the little things. Take stock in those things that make you smile and stop taking this shit so fucking seriously. Lighten up and do it right now, man, because it is a choice. The way you take your life is ultimately up to your own decision. You choose the life that you get. So choose a life that's joyous. Choose a life that's easy. And that begins by wanting things, or more accurately, choosing things rather than needing things, being thirsty for things, having that scarcity mindset for things. It will come to you if you don't need it, man. If you just are it and you choose it and you do so with joy and entertainment and a carefree heart like that laughing Buddha, your life will start to become so much easier, so much more joyous. And yes, women, money, success will come to you when it doesn't matter to you anymore, right? It's funny and ironic that when you don't give a shit so much about all these things that you used to stress over years ago, it comes to you. And then when it comes to you, you can enjoy it for what it is. And like a child puts down a toy, you can put it down anytime without dependence on it. And that's when you're truly free. So lighten the fuck up, gentlemen. That is today's message. I really appreciate you listening. If you'd like to meet with me on a free one-on-one breakthrough session, you know what to do. Go to my website, click on coaching, fill in the quick application, and you and I will get on that one-on-one call together. I drop podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays, and I will see you in the next episode.